Good day, ladies and gentlemen. So I've been playing Pokémon Y for the last 2 days and followed what was going on with the game for the 11 days before that. Still can't believe some people got their copies 11 days early. Nintendo was so pissed about that. Anyway, this is meant to be a little thought dump of sorts. I'm not putting this in an LP episode because it's just going to take even longer to, edit and stuff like that. And I would like to get back to the game fairly quickly once I'm done with this. So instead, well, there you go. I'm just going to talk about stuff that I feel like talking about the game. First things first, Kalos is freaking massive, and I'm not just talking about the Pokédex either. 450 Pokemon sure is a lot, but still, just look at the map. Look at it. It's huge. It's absolutely enormous. And well, I can't complain. More content is always a good thing, though it does have its drawbacks, namely what I mentioned on my blog yesterday, the fact that when you get on a new route, just about everything that you meet in the tall grass or the flowers, whatever, it's all new. So, as a result, some encounters are going to be rarer than others, which results, if you're trying to catch them all like I do, sometimes it can get a little annoying to try and find the rare Pokemon that you want, and then you gotta do it over and over and over every time you're in a new area. But otherwise, can't complain. There's so much variety in what you can use and what the opposing trainers can use. We don't have any more of that shit we had in the Snow Point gym where you just saw the two same lines over and over again. It's just absolutely amazing in that aspect, even though, as I said, it does have a bit of a drawback. Also, the experience share. Fucking broken. Read my lips, even though you can't see them. That thing is absolutely monstrous. And, it's a key item that you can turn on and off, and why would you not want that thing on at all times, unless you're, EV training a specific Pokemon, and Super Training is pretty good at that nowadays, so you'll want that on most of the time, if not all. And as a result, it's just absolutely amazing. Of course, I only have a team of 2 members as of right now, since I'm not quite at the second gym, and my team is already in the 30s. And the event Torchic that I got, that I put on my team, it's not listening to me anymore. Even though they upped the level at which Pokemon will stop obeying you to 30 with the first badge. It was 20 in Generation 5. My Combusken isn't listening to me anymore. I never, ever, ever expected that to happen. And that's all because of the experience share, because, well, I fought a lot with Bulbasaur trying to make it catch up to my Combusken, and it was sort of tricky, because Combusken, with the experience share, and considering it gets boosted experience as well, effectively gets 75% of the full experience that my Bulbasaur/Ivysaur gets. So as a result, I haven't been doing a whole lot of fighting with Combusken since then, and it's still getting almost full experience, which is downright silly when you think about it. And I understand why they put that there. They put that there because Audino grinding is no longer a thing. Sure, it's found in one area, but even so, Venipede is now the common encounter you get in rustling grass, not Audino. So, yeah, even if you wanted to, grinding off level 12 Audinos, not really recommended, especially when you'll be getting Venipedes most of the time. And there's also the fact that the experience formula reverted back to what it was in Generations 4 and before. Because now the level you are compared to the level of the opponent no longer has an effect. You will always get the same amount of experience from an opposing Pokemon at a specific level from a specific species, whether you're level 1 or level 100. So I can see why they put the experience share in there in order to make the grinding process a bit better. But at the same time, it totally freaking breaks the game if you're trying to play through it normally. And of course, there's also the fact that since I only have 2 team members, I have 4 empty slots, and as a result, I rotate some Pokemon in there, trying to evolve them to buff up my Pokedex a bit, and that's almost too easy. I got all these evolutions without even trying, so yeah, this is kind of silly how the experience share works, but still. As far as in-game goes, most of the minor stuff that I wanted to say, I've said it on my blog before, but overall, the Kalos region is absolutely amazing. It's giving me that same effect I got when I first played Diamond, that shit just got real feeling, and that's absolutely amazing because it just shows that X and Y are the definitive Pokemon games. Now, they're the best. There's no questioning that. And it's also a game where it really shows that they really took the time to listen to their community, even if it was for trivial, useless stuff like character customization. They also threw in a new type just for the lulz, even though it wasn't the light type everybody wanted. And who can blame them? The light type would be utterly redundant because you got several other types that have feature of a potential light type. You got electric, you got psychic, you got steel, you got fairy to an extent. So yeah, there's not going to be a light type ever. Deal with it. But at least the fairy type is, well, as I've said before, they couldn't have handled it better. They really made it work against the best types and not work against the worst. So I can't really complain. Of course, it's going to take a while to see how the metagame shapes up. Of course, we won't get the full picture until Pokemon Bang comes out in late December, but it's going to be interesting to see how it all pans out, especially with the permanent weather nerf. This is where I was trying to go when I said that Game Freak really listened. Weather was the absolute broken shit of Generation 5, and they really nerfed it to hell and back. Now, it only lasts 5 turns, as opposed to Infinity +1, and you can also put one of the appropriate rocks on your Inducer so that it goes up to 8 turns. Still, this is even if you choose to use the rock, it's still only 8 turns, and you don't get to put leftovers or a choice item on your Inducer anymore. You absolutely have to use that rock, which makes Mega Tyranitar a lot less appealing suddenly. But it's not the Mega Evolution everyone's really worried about. I'll come back to that later. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens with weather, because the list of Pokemon that were banned last gen due to weather was absolutely off the charts. It was mostly rain, so considering that rain has been nerfed so hard, we can take it for granted that all these abusers, like for example, Incarnate Thundurus, Therian Tornadus, all that good stuff, maybe even Manaphy, who knows, that's all going to be unbanned. So as a result, I think Rain might still have a place in the metagame, considering just how many good abusers it has and how good Rain itself inherently is. Well, both of these aspects really go hand in hand as far as I'm concerned, but still, and that's going to be interesting. But as far as sun, sand, and hail go, I don't think we're going to be seeing too much of them. Of course, I could be completely wrong. I could be completely wrong, and weather is still going to be a force, just not the force as it was in the last generation. So, once again, something to look out for, especially in December when Pokemon Bank becomes available. And, the other thing that people really, really wanted to be nerfed, Stealth Rock, still remains the same, unfortunately. There have been rumors going around, and by that I mean a lot, that Stealth Rock was being nerfed. It started, as I'm being told, as a prank on Smogon. Some Smogonites got together and got the idea to spread the news that Stealth Rock was being nerfed, and a lot of people fell for it, even though we never did get proof of that. And this is especially interesting because there were several versions of the story going around. Some people said that the damage was being cut by 20%, so the base damage would be 10% instead of 12.5%, and others suggested that there were diminishing returns, like what I personally suggested in my Gen 6 suggestion video. My idea, if you remember, was, neutral damage corresponds to one layer of spikes, which is 12.5%. A double weakness would be 2 layers of spikes, which would be 18.75%, and a quadruple weakness would be 25%, which is 3 layers of spikes. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. Being quadruple weak to Stealth Rock is still going to be the death of you, make you flat out unusable, even though, there's some debate about how Talonflame could potentially be usable with its Dream World ability, which gives priority to all its flying moves. I don't know. I mean, it takes half damage just from switching in, and its main stab moves are set to be Flare Blitz and Brave Bird, which chew up your HP even more. All half of it, which, pretty bad. Oh, and I was talking earlier about Game Freak listening to the fans. Well, they did so with the starters' secondary typings, but they only did it halfway. We got that fighting, psychic, dark trio that everybody's been wanting since, I can't remember when, but it was a long time ago. The only problem is that what people really wanted was to have that trio be the reverse of the other one and not just strengthen each other's weaknesses over each other. So, that means that the Pokebeach leaker was actually wrong on the final form typings for Chestnut and Greninja. So, it actually was pretty funny, too, because when I saw Quilladin, you remember the first question I asked was, how is this supposed to evolve into a Dark type? The answer, it doesn't. And even so, the result really surprised me, because if you put pictures of Chestnut and Quilladin next to each other, they really don't look like each other at all. So that was absolutely unexpected. In retrospect, I guess Quilladin could have evolved into absolutely anything, and it wouldn't have made a difference. But shame about not getting the direction of the secondary type trio right. That was Troll Freak, being Troll Freak, playing pranks on everyone just because, they've embraced their reputation at this point, it seems. I can't explain it any other way. Speaking of Troll Freak, though, Flareon now gets Flare Blitz. About fucking time. Main problem, though, its move pool still sucks dick. No real coverage moves to speak of, whereas its immediate comparison would be Darmanitan, which gets a ton of them on top of Sheer Force, which boosts its attacks even further. Flareon's got none of that, so just because Flareon's got Flare Blitz doesn't mean the fight is over. It's still easily the punching bag of the evolutions. It's just absolutely pathetic, and something really got to change with these move pools, because evolutions have never been known for their expansive move pools. And yeah, Flareon needs more of a gift. What can I say?